Hello everyone, and welcome to the first cast, not live. There was a live game played, but the first cast of the 2024 Tooth and Tail Champions Season 1. There's going to be a lot of games coming soon, going to be a lot of exciting matches, and without further ado, let's get into EvilMurlock versus Arilou. I'll talk a little bit more about the format. So, once people make it out of uh, of the group stages, the top two will be decided based on games won. So if you win 3-0, that is better than a 3-2 victory, for example. So you'll get +3 for a 3-0, you'll +1 for a 3-2 victory, and a -3 for losing those three, etc. And then the people with the top two scores at the end will move on from each group. That makes 8 players to move on from a total of 24, I believe. And then those will battle in a ladder style, kind of like bracket tourney thing going on to the end, and then obviously we'll see that final coming up in about a month. So we have here in our top is Arilou playing Hopper. Now, another thing for those to be interested, there's a new patch that this tournament is being played on. There's a couple changes that can be found in the Discord if you want to go look into those. A couple things, Arilou's playing Toads and Snakes. Those have both received buffs. EvilMurlock or Samluck is playing a Boar deck, which has received a nerf. Everything else in their decks has stayed about the same. There's some minor adjustments to some other things that are not really unit specific, but those are the general buffs we're looking at. Toad got an HP buff, Snake got a DPS buff, and Boar is the same DPS, but the Boar bomb does significantly less damage, so when that bomb blows up, it won't do quite as much as it did before. Arilou starting with a 8 farm tier 2 opening, so kind of greedy, but their bases are pretty far apart, so should be safe enough to move into that cam first opening safely. Murlock gonna start with a tier 1, go into, wow, so Falcons with a little bit of pigeon flavoring on the side. Should be able to hold its own against this cams, sorry, I got little hiccups there. Snake should do pretty well against Falcons, honestly. In the early game, we've really been seeing these Falcons start to shine a little bit. Sorry, the Snakes. Excuse me. What I meant to say is normally the Falcons are like the best, mass up these units, even like early game, like they're the most DPS of tier 2 units. But now it's really, in this early kind of mid-game engagements, these Snakes are really starting to hold their own. They're adding definitely their own place within the game. They do damage faster now than they used to, which can really start to help swing fights. Whereas before, you might kill units after the fight is over, but by that time, your whole army is dead. So definitely seeing a lot more Snake play, and I'm really excited to see that because the last season, there was almost no Snake play. So I'm really hoping that we see a lot of a lot of Toads, a lot of Snakes hit the battlefield this season. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see what happens. It's going to be a great season. And I see Arilou here is one of our top players. Definitely a top 5 player in the scene. EvilMurlock, I'd say, is a slight disadvantage here. I'd say I would put Arilou probably as a favorite for this match. But in terms of this push, you see Arilou has a slight army advantage. And he's pushing into a base with a couple mines that are going up. A third Falcon is 10 seconds away. Murlock trying to get this fight to work out. Toad's going off. The Falcons are going to go down. Cam's still alive. These mines were not helpful at all. Both cams do go down, but there's so many squirrels still left alive. Murlock will repel this, but at what cost? Losing 3 farms and a couple warrens as well. That's going to be really hard for Murlock to resupply his army and resupply his economy. Trying to chase a little bit here, needs to be careful. Cannot lose this Falcon. It's getting really dangerous. Oh, might lose this Falcon on the tree with this road here. Yeah, the Falcon goes down. That's so unfortunate for Murlock here. And now with this cam resupplied from Arilou, Murlock not really with his army and just going to start to bleed off units one by one. And I think Arilou is going to be able to push. Oh, he's going to move on to the Warrens. These Toads do so much damage against the Warrens. They do 4x damage to the Warrens. Oh my god, they destroy those instantly. Arilou saving the cams as well, and this is just looking like it's going to slowly snowball into an Arilou victory with 4 farms gone on the aggressive. Yeah, I think those Toads really doing some great damage there, taking out the infrastructure of EvilMurlock. And at this point, it's just too much damage for Murlock to come back. Warren's getting picked off, just holding on. It's a tournament game. I understand the want to stay in and just really focus You know, never say die, so to speak. But this is definitely over. Arilou going to take match number 1, putting him up 1-0 versus EvilMurlock. Alright, let's see game number 2. Spawning in the top left is Arilou playing Hopper, bringing the same deck as well. Seems to like this deck. Always had that bit of Wolf Flare with a lot of tier 2, so doesn't seem like he's really changed his deck too much. EvilMurlock in the east, playing, I think, the same deck, maybe a little different. Yeah, no mines this time, so I think added in the cams, or the skunks, one of the two. Maybe both of them, actually. I kind of forget. He may have had 2 defenses last game. But again, a very meta deck as well from Murloc. You know, the boar has received some pretty significant nerfs, but definitely not a bad tier 3 at all. Can especially hold its own against a wolf player as well. Boar into wolf is still a good matchup for the boar. It's definitely a lot more even now with that boar bomb seeing some pretty sizable nerfs. But the thing that boar pushes really lost is the moles. So we haven't seen moles yet in this series, so I haven't talked about them, but moles received a pretty big nerf from the last season. Moles really dominated the last season. I mean, I'm a mole player. Pretty much everyone who was successful last season was a mole player, so you know, it just goes to show they've received some different changes. You know, they haven't really been like totally nerfed. They just received some interesting changes. So the moles now have half of their DPS before. They do 1 damage per second, where it used to be 2 to units. They still have the same structure crit, so they're still like a good unit specialist versus those warrens versus those mills. But they can now be burrowed to. So normally when you go out and you can burrow back to your mills, your completed mills, now you can burrow to completed mole warrens as well, which is super interesting. So let's say I wanted to set like a timing attack on Arilou's base, and I was Murloc and I had moles. I could put a mole warren up here, you know, hide it up here, move my army over here, burrow up here, you know, control the moles, maybe go for like a backside push, and then send your army in. It's just, there's a lot more interesting utility that the moles have now, and I'm really excited to see what people do with that this season. You know, it's a totally new mechanic that's never been in the game before, and people just aren't quite, they haven't adapted to it yet, is what I think, because there's so much utility there that quite hasn't really been explored yet. So I'm really hoping to see some players try to figure out these moles this season. Murloc moving in for a push. He's getting some fights. It's actually, he has more. There's just a couple toads here from Arilou, and no, yeah, it was too even for Murloc to really get that. They had similar squirrels, and he was pushing into Arilou's base, so Murloc gonna take a pretty big loss there for really nothing. Although he is expanded, so is Arilou, so both going up to 9 farms here. Arilou dropping that tier 2, so dropping the cams down. And seems to want to move out a little bit here. These toads are threatening for Murloc for sure. They can really get... I mean, honestly, if one detonates, that's more value than a squirrel easily, so... you just need to really keep those toads off your squirrels if you're Murloc. But Arilou decides better, but goes home. Both players on 9 farms. I don't think Murloc has seen Arilou's expansion yet. No, I don't think so. It's hard to see in the minimap for the commander vision thing. So I'm not quite sure if Murloc knows about it, but I don't think I've seen his commander scouted yet, so... He thinks he's ahead right now in Eco, and actually they're even. So hopefully we see Murloc figure that out soon. Also, did he sell this farm and replace it? I feel like he was ahead of Arilou, but maybe not. So Murloc getting cams and skunks out, but they're going to be slow. 2 cams from Arilou are here on the battlefield. He has 1 cam, a skunk, a couple seconds away. If those toads get on that mill, that is a dead mill instantly. Oh, the fight kind of starting here. Toads all go off in the cams. The cam instantly destroyed, but it does get rid of the toads, which is nice. Both cams going down for Arilou, but there's still so many squirrels here. This mill will definitely go down. The question is, what can Murloc wipe this army? Murloc really needs an army wipe here to try to get back in this game. Saves the cam, well played, and does get quite a few squirrels for the mill, so only losing 1 farm. He's not really at a huge disadvantage yet. I think pushing in here, though, is a huge overextension. Needs to just go home. Does not have enough right now to push in to Arilou's base. Gonna try to get some pre-gas down. Only 1 skunk. Here the second one comes. And the toads are coming. Three go off. The cam is instantly dead. The gas is doing work, but not enough. There's no squirrels left to capitalize, and that skunk goes down as well. And all of a sudden, Murloc's okay-ish position is now looking dire. You can see Murlock had a pretty similar army value, could have rebought a mill, could have got back in this game, just plummeted, losing pretty much everything, just didn't have the right comp for that, you know, wasn't able to take out those toads, they got good connections, and didn't quite wait for all of his tier 2. Now he's just on pure tier 1 and a couple and 1 or 2 skunks against, you know, Mass Toad Cam. This is going to be a really, really brutal hold for Murlock to make happen, and the toads might just go on these, yeah, the Warrens. Look at that structure crit. 3 Warrens instantly go down. The cams finally go down. This gas is doing good work. Oh, it's not even really on the squirrels, though. Here come the squirrels, and they're gone, but look at what the toads did. They said, hey, there's no squirrels for us to get. Hey, I'm gonna just take the 3 Warrens you have in front, and now we're locked down to 1 squirrel Warren. This is looking really, really rough. I mean, there would have to be a miracle turnaround for Murlock to make this work. Going for a bit of a base trade, but yeah, it gets caught out by Arilou, and that's gonna be it. These skunks not enough on their own, need some squirrel backup, and I think we'll see the tap in this second game here for Murlock. So Arilou quickly going up 2-0 in this series. Murlock, never say die, just like last time. Even when he's down to 1 squirrel, that's all he's got. He's gonna save it. Should be starving in a couple seconds, about 20 seconds he's gonna start starving. But I don't think it'll even get to that point, honestly. Should lose this meal within a couple seconds. I think there's something to be said about, you know, this attitude of never give up in a tournament game. I think it can really be an effective way to play. I think it is smart in general, but, you know, at this point in a game like this, it's time to just say reset, you know, go next. That's really what you need to do. Like, at this point, the game is over. It's clearly over, yeah. Murlock taps. GG's, that's 2-0 for Arilou. This is a best of 5. So here we go, game number 3. Murlock up against the wall here. Needs something to happen. Up on the top left is Arilou, bringing that same old wolf deck. We have not seen it get to tier 3 yet. Murlock might try something different this time. Here he is in the south, playing a different deck. I wonder if with this map, it's pretty large, he might be able to get down an early tier 3, try to make a board push happen into Arilou. He's been loving that cams, so the Vor should do well against cams in general. So hopefully Murlock changes up something. You know, you can't just stay the same in this game. If you just do the same thing over and over again, obviously it's not going to work against the same opponent, so he needs to switch something up. He's bringing lizards this time. Drop the cam. What else did he lose? Because he also has mines as well, again, from the first game. I liked his mine usage in the first game. His mines did pretty good value. They helped hold some stuff. I hope he uses lizards. This is an okay lizard map. There are some back doors, like you can come from here, you know, go through this 1 block gap, hit Arilou from the back. Obviously you can go from the main route, you know, in the front, but it's not a great lizard map, right? The potential hit angles are here, you know, hit this base or the front of the base where Arilou is likely going to be, right? So as long as Arilou is somewhat, you know, aware of this path, I think he should be fine against any lizard harass that Murlock decides to go with. Looking at the map, though, it's a pretty even map. There's 4 and 4 mills on each side. It's a really interesting split down the middle. This game could go really late. There are 2 extra campfires on Arilou's side, so he does have the slight advantage with a couple extra farms, but it's not too big a difference. Both players are going to open tier 2. Skunks for Murlock, cams for Arilou. Let's talk about that difference a little bit, because last season, you know, it was different. Neither unit received buffs, but I do think that the cams are really going to shine this tournament. I think the cams are pound for pound a better pick. One, on this map, because it's a lot more open of a map, which is going to be better for cams than skunks. And 2, I think that with the prevalence of toads especially, cams are a really, really nice counter to toads, because you can detonate 3-4 toads on 1 cam, and then save, you know, the rest of your army. That's a great trade for you. You love to see that, you know. You might lose your cam, fine, but you need the DPS of the squirrels, so losing the squirrels to toads is just GG, right? Arilou with the expansion. Murlock trying to punish this a little bit. He has the 1 skunk out. Both cams are out for Arilou. I don't know if this is quite enough army to push in for Murlock here. He wants to make some push happen. He needs to at least wait for the second skunk, though. He definitely cannot make this happen with just 1 skunk. So here it comes. Is he going to try to push? He's dropping some mines. I like this. Trying to get some pre-gas down. Couple mines on the high ground to try to retreat to. Here comes the fight. Arilou moving in into the 3 mines. Great hits there for Murlock. The second cam does survive, but pretty much everything going down for Arilou. Second cam goes down, and this is actually looking great for Murlock. He's got an extra cam, or sorry, an extra skunk that is, to try to make some push happen. Looking for pre-gas here. A second skunk would be so massive right now. He's trying to pressure the Warrens while getting the pre-gas down at the same time. Arilou moving in with these toads. He needs to stop these toad detonations. There they go. All the toads go down. There's not enough here to defend for Arilou. He needs a miracle. He needs to stop. I mean, he's losing farms. A second farm here for Murlock is huge. Yeah, he does. He focuses the pig down. Second, the cam is out to defend for Arilou, but that's good value. That's really good value for Murlock. So he gets 2 farms. He gets a Warren. And he puts Arilou quite far behind now. Arilou grabbing this farm just to get back up to 8, though. Murlock gonna move back in with the second skunk now, dropping some mines. That was a great mine play. I mean, not only did it hit the cam and really destroy the cam from Arilou, trying to get the pre-gas down. There's another fight coming in, but it also wiped out the tier 1 of Arilou. Good pre-gas here from Murlock. Arilou gonna walk right through it. He's trying to bait a little bit too hard into these mines, right? I think Arilou's not gonna fall for this again, is my guess. Here comes the pre-gas. I think you can just take a fight here. You got a pretty good army lead if you're Murlock, especially if you get some good pre-gas down. Oh, this is a bit awkward here. Murlock needs to take this fight here. He needs to keep these cams or these skunks alive as well. One skunk goes down, and this is not quite as good a fight for Murlock. He needs to save the skunk. Oh, he does save the skunk. That's crazy. And this is kind of snowballing. He's down 4 farms as Arilou. This skunk needs to survive though. And he needs to start dealing with the toads as well. Toad detonations are massive swing against an army like this. Toad goes down. Lizards are here now. Oh, Toad gets off, but it's not quite enough. Not really killing anything. And this is looking really good now for Murlock. He has an eco lead. He has a pretty huge army lead. And once the second skunk is here, if he can keep this one alive, it's going to get even worse for Arilou. Some pre-gas down. Second skunk is here, and this is when it starts to get really bad. Yeah, here comes the pre-gas. Arilou walking right through it. Toad going down. Pull those skunks back. Couple Toad goes off, but they don't really hit much. And look at this. Look how many skunks. Oh, yeah, look at that. All the squirrels are back for EvilMurlock, and here we go. EvilMurlock punching back. Look at that fabulously played game. Punishing just a little bit of eco greed without moles, without toads. Just with good old-fashioned skunk squirrel. Alright, 2-1. So definitely not going to make this a clean sweep. Interesting, Arilou definitely getting hit there a little bit. And remember, every game matters. Going into game 4 here, Arilou wanted that 3-0, but definitely not going to get it now. In the bottom right is Arilou playing Hopper. And the top left is Samluck, aka EvilMurlock, playing the KSR. Same decks from... Oh, I was going to say from both players, but definitely not the same deck here for Murlock. Adding in another tier 1, keeping those mines, and dropping boar. You know, I actually really like this because we have not seen tier 3 at all any of these games, even on that last map, which is a pretty good tier 3 map. And so Murlock says, hey, why am I bringing boar to never use it? Let's drop it. Let's get the moles in instead. And moles can be a great offensive utility unit. I will say this is definitely not so good a map for Arilou if he wants to punish Murlock's greed here. Really defendable base position from Murlock. He's on this high ground. There's a ton of like weird cliffs and stuff here that really mess up the army pathing for Arilou. Yeah, great base spawn, right, off one base for Murlock, but getting into a second base is so difficult from this position if you're Murlock. Really the only base you can take are one of these two. I guess probably this one. Maybe this one because it's a little further back. I guess it's kind of difficult for Arilou to take one as well. This is a pretty bad base to take because there's not really a path. There's just one tile path in the middle here that allows you to get between your bases. But I guess we'll see. This is kind of looking like a one-base game to me. We'll see if one player could decide to expand. It's definitely possible. If it's going to be anyone, it's probably going to be Murlock, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, both players opening tier 2. Arilou gonna sell off his tier 1, go double tier 2. Snake opening into cams. Murlock sees it. What's the response gonna be? He's gonna sell his tier 2 and drop tier 1? Oh, wow, this is super unexpected. I did not expect to see this. He sells off the cams. Or, sorry, he sells off the skunks, rather. and goes into falcons. Huh. So this is okay, I think. I don't know. Cams would have been Skunks would have been fine here, but he's selling him off, so he's now quite behind in that tier 2 tempo. Arilou's gonna have both of each tier 2 before Murlock even has a falcon and a half here. Let's see if Arilou decides to do something. He's just putting down tier 1 now. It looks like he might be looking for a push. He does have quite a big tech lead right now. There's quite a timing here. Arilou's going to have all of his 4 tier 2 by the time Murlock has a single falcon. He could definitely make something happen here if he plays this correctly. These snakes now do so much DPS. If anyone wants to know, then... Oh, no! Murlock, before he died, rallied in. Not losing too much, actually. Losing 2 lizards there, so not the end of the world. Second falcon should be here shortly for Murlock. Arilou delaying a little bit. He wanted to grab these toads before he moved in. And Murlock's second falcon is now here. Has a lot of tier 1, but against the toads, these lizards could have a real difficult time. He needs to control the lizards, you know, run them around the side of the army. He needs to not let the toads detonate on the lizards. That would be game-ending for sure. Yeah, so you can see that Arilou definitely wants to push in here. Should be about equal armies. He just needs to hope that his comp is better. Yeah, grabbing a mill. I think this is the safer play. He might be able to make something work. But if it doesn't work, he needs to be able to go back and get the eco lead. I can't tell if he wants to move out here or not. It seems like he wants to, but I think he senses that it's going to be really hard for him to push into Murlock. I really don't think either player can move out right now. I think it would be too risky. Arilou getting up way more tier 1. He wants to get some farms as well. And Murlock grabbing this base. I think this base is probably way better from this position. It is less defendable, but if you lose this fight, you lose the mill as well. And here comes the fight. Running those all the toads go off on all the lizards. So every single lizard is gone. Skunks just now die. Snakes go down. One snake's still alive. It's going to survive the fight as well. And look, the fight ends and there's still a snake alive. This mill does go down. You can't sell it. And now it's Murlock on the back foot. Those toads dealing with all of his lizards. I think it was maybe 6 toads for 9 lizards. So, good trade there for Arilou. Again, that's what I said, right? You can't be throwing away those lizards just to tank its toad hits. You need to play them around the side of the army. You know, run them in from the side angle to try to bait out the lizards. Or sorry, bait out the toads. I haven't casted this game in so long, guys. I keep misspeaking. I can't think of who the units are. I don't even know what toads are now. Arilou just slowly getting ahead. He's got this extra farm, so Murlock needs to make something happen, whether that's getting an extra farm on a new mill or trying to move in and make a push happen. But getting these mines is not going to do anything because Arilou is definitely not moving in. He's got the farm lead. He has no prerogative to move in. Murlock could grab this. I could see this. Yeah, he's going to grab this mill down here. It's way out of the way for Arilou, so he probably won't decide to make that choice. Arilou wants to move in here. Why? Oh, that was a nice hit. He only loses a toad for that, so not bad. It's pretty. Oh, he gets 2 tags in this. Oh man, that's brutal. Brutal tags. Snakes are gonna snipe out this skunk. I think it should die. Oh, it survives on 1 HP. I didn't know that. Interesting. Well, it goes down anyway. And look, this is a brutal fight. Arilou just takes everything, and that I think is gonna be game. These resupplying units from Murlock just are not gonna be enough. This damage has been done. Arilou's ahead in farms. They're somewhat even on... Oh, no, not even close. Never mind. I mean, Arilou's got the tech lead, of course, so... I think that's going to be Arilou taking the series 3-1. Let's see if he can close it out, but I don't think there's really much way for Murlock to come back from this. He's got the extra farms, but as long as Arilou just kind of right-clicks in, he should have this, no problem. Gets the tags on the... It just fallows out before you can kill it. He tries to snipe the pig, but it fallows out. He's like... If you're gonna take me, you can't take me alive. Oh, the same thing. You can't take my units alive. May as well take him dead. I'm just gonna run away and sell off all my units so you can't kill him. It's definitely one way to do it. Throws down 100 warrants here. I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward. This game is definitely over. I like how the units. I like how the toads bounce around and fast forward speed. Actually losing a snake here. And there we go. The mill goes down. GG's. That is Arilou taking this victory 3-1 over EvilMurlock. Alright guys, thanks all for watching. more tournament casts to come soon. I'm really excited to casting and playing especially in this tournament. So see y'all around. Bye.